Hello and welcome to the Album of the Year podcast. My name is Chris, and over to my right, as always, is my man Marty. How you doing today, Marty?
I'm doing real good, man. Feeling good, feeling kind of light and lean. I'm trying to eat a little better. And
really?
Yeah,
because I see some food in front of you, and I'm not quite sure whether you're holding up to the...
Well, today is, I guess, more or less a cheat day. I feel like I've been trying to do the low-carb thing and, lean meat, not a lot of red meat, vegetables, that kind of thing. I've been doing pretty good with that the last probably 3 or 4 days. So maybe this is the day I kind of treat myself, so to speak.
No, I'm the same way, man. I had like a calzone for lunch, which I shouldn't be.
We both had that calzone.
Which is pretty good.
It was great. Yeah,
got sausage in it. Not really. When we do a cheat day, we go hard.
We don't fuck around with cheat days, man. Like,
dude, we don't call it gravy train with biscuit wheels because we screw around when it comes to cheat days. All right?
Because we really want biscuits as wheels in gravy. We want to eat
gravy
that.
And exactly. That's the reason why we have to have cheat days to begin with, because we ate too much of that to be.
It's true.
So this is a lunchtime episode, guys, but it's kind of not like our normal lunchtimes.
Yeah.
Usually Marty and I just go to lunch, as you guys know, but because this one's kind of a very special one, so we're going to do the whole episode here in the studio, but we're not having lunch. It's a Wednesday night. Yeah. We're having dinner now. So it's kind of a dinner time, but man, who cares? We're going to call it Lunchtime 3. And today is our Christmas special.
That's right.
So we're going to talk a lot about Christmas music. We're going to talk about Christmas in general. Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen here, but it's going to be great. And so to get in the Christmas spirit, of course, we got to drink something weird. What are we drinking weird today, Marty?
Eggnog.
We got some eggnog.
Southern Comfort eggnog.
With no Southern Comfort in it.
That's kind of false advertising, I suppose. But excuse me. Sorry about that.
Yeah, good eggnog, clearly.
Oh, man. Telling you. Woo.
And we're eating Rosa's nachos and enchiladas and stuff. So
that's
Rosa's
right.
is
go ahead, sorry.
Kind of a local chain that started out in West Texas. So, but they make good burritos, great tortillas. Their tortillas are just among the best that you can get. And I'm having a fajita nachos thing right here. So we're still in the lunchtime spirit. We're in the Christmas spirit. We're unfortunately no spirits in the eggnog, but other than that.
So I just took my first sip of the eggnog, and it is by far the best themed beverage we've had for an episode.
Yeah, I think it beats the Tab.
It certainly beats the Tab and the Zima. Are those the only two?
Yeah, I think so. We didn't really have something last time.
No, we didn't.
I talked about doing Tang at one point, but I think we're gonna skip the Tang.
85. When did we do Tab? What year was that?
Tab was 85.
Was that 85? Okay, I guess it was.
So we could have gotten away with Tang in 79 because I think of that as a 70s drink. But you know what?
God.
I think we just got to drop that thing. I think the eggnog is a good place to end the themed beverages, unless you...
you may want to end it, Chris, but I might have something up my sleeve.
My goodness. All right. So that's a cliffhanger because we're also, one thing we should say is we're kind of, not that we really think of these as being a part of like seasons or anything like that, but because we're entering the holiday season, I think we're going to take a break for a few weeks after this. So not because we've got any less enthusiasm for it. I actually have been we'll talk about it some more because I think one thing I'd like to talk about is just kind of where we feel the podcast has been and all that kind of stuff. But we're probably more enthusiastic about it as we've been going along.
We have been,
But we do need to kind of take a break to do a couple of things, including, spending the holidays with their families.
Exactly.
And then also, I think, spend a little bit of time figuring out how to get the podcast out to some more folks.
Exactly. So build our listenership.
Exactly. So, because we've done a pretty good job, I think, of amassing a start, and getting everything out, a pretty good schedule and everything. So
thank you to all the people who have listened to the podcast and have let us know how much they enjoy it. It's really great, even if it is just coworkers and stuff that tell us they've listened and they enjoy, listening and that kind of thing. So thanks, guys. Those of you that have listened, we really appreciate you listening. It's been fun.
A lot of folks from, I got some friends from high school who've been listening to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh, cool.
Kara Tyler, thank you so much. She said she's been listening to it while doing her workouts. So
nice.
So she said it's been compelling her to work out longer because she listens to the podcast. So that makes me feel good, hey.
It's great.
And shout out to Mike Wilson, who I played in the band with. He was he helped me make surge steaks.
He was a surge steak guy.
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
Man.
So, but he was listening to the podcast before we even brought up the Phoenix stuff. So it's been great having Mike listen. And a lot of guys at work have brought it up and really been listening to it. So it's been really fantastic to think that it might be entertaining to a few folks. So
agreed.
Man, good fajita nachos. I mean, when you think Christmas, fajita
nachos is the first thing you think.
Absolutely,
of,
like it's like my old grandpappy used to say. You always leave fajita nachos out for Santa Claus.
That's right.
Yeah,
he loves that big steak.
Fajita nachos. Yeah,
that's his thing, man.
I'm gonna tell Evie that though. Leaving out some fajita nachos for Santa is not such a bad.
It's not a bad deal, man.
Yeah, it's really not.
Yeah.
So it's almost Christmas time, man. So, to get in the holiday spirit, we got our eggnog, we got our stuff, but also got you something, didn't I?
You did.
I did get you something.
Chris says, he goes, we're walking up to record the episode, and they have their Christmas tree kind of right by the front door and the stairs here at their house, and he said, go look under the Christmas tree, Marty. There might be something there for you. So I was like, oh, you didn't have to do that. And I'm like halfway up the stairs before I realize he wants me to pick it up, bring it upstairs, and open it on the air. And then I had to go back down and grab it. So here we go.
Take a hint, Marty.
It's of a familiar shape.
Yeah, 12, what is it? What
12
does it
by like? 12, I would say. Really, really cool wrapping paper.
Yeah, it's sort of plaid wrapping paper because I figure, you know it was from me. If
That's
it
right.
Looks like
you little grunge puppy himself. Yeah. I loved in the episode where you called yourself a grunge puppy. I thought that was amazing.
No, I've heard you say it to me a couple of times. Like, because you're a grunge puppy.
Grunge puppy.
That's what I use.
All right, so I'm opening the gift.
Let's see what it is, man.
Segue into that. Oh, I see grass.
Hold on a second. Before you do that, let me snap a picture so we can have. We gotta do that synergy. Get that.
So you want me to snap it like of me opening it? Or?
Yeah. Okay. All right, that's very good. Nice pose there.
Oh man, I think I know what this is. Oh, and there he is, Richard Harris himself. A Tramp Shining.
Yep, A Tramp Shining. The great
Richard Harris and
Hollywood's Dumbledore.
several songs on here. Didn't we? Paper Chase. You Must Leave My Life. If You Must Leave My Life.
Yeah, the most important track.
Importantly, MacArthur Park.
MacArthur
Park. Oh my God! I can't wait to listen to this.
7 minutes and 20 seconds of MacArthur Park
in all of its glory.
All of its glory.
Oh
the whole
God.
Breakdown in the middle and everything. You can listen to that over. The best part of it, I was thinking, is that when you do DJ sets, you now have.
Oh yeah. Well, I was just going to bring that up. So we do a family dinner. Me and some of our friends, Courtney and I's friends. We do a family dinner. It's kind of a carryover from a thing from when they were all in Ohio. And we try to do it every Wednesday night. We're having a holiday one, and we're hosting it, and I'm DJing. So I can't wait to drop the needle on MacArthur Park that next Wednesday. A week from today, Chris, might happen.
I'm going to be indirectly responsible for ruining the holiday dinner.
Right. For people are going to just start. It's going to be like The Devil Went Down to Georgia 6 times. It's like it's exactly what it's going to.
There we go. There's the question. Would you rather listen to The Devil Went Down to Georgia 6 times? Would you rather listen to Mambo No. 5 4 times or MacArthur Park once? I think MacArthur Park takes it on that.
Yeah, I think MacArthur Park once is fine.
Maybe MacArthur Park and the Donna Summers MacArthur Park. I keep calling her Summers. I know better. It's Donna Summer, but you're like back to back, So choose your poison, folks.
I think both of those I think would be fine. Did I ever tell you? Me and Ben Seligson, a friend of ours, guy we used to work with. We made a torture songs playlist on Spotify. And it was like The Lady in Red and Technotronic Pump Up the Jam, which actually isn't a bad song. But we were playing in the same fantasy football league, and the week we played each other, essentially the winner got to pick a song from that playlist for the loser to listen to for the whole hour of their training time. Yeah. And it was, and Ben found a really, really bad song that wasn't even on Spotify, and it was like, I'm a gummy bear or something like that. It was so, oh dude, it was so awful. I made him listen to Unbelievable by EMF the year I won.
You see, I kind of like that song. Yeah, I do. I'm going to cop to it.
Okay, all right.
I think when we did our 1990 episode, I had to debate with myself whether to put it on there because I know it's such, an abortion of bad taste to like listen to that. Yeah. But I was like, I still kind of like it though. I'm a sucker for that dance rock era though. So.
I feel like that was kind of like if Imagine Dragons were around in the 90s. They would have been
I can
band.
totally, exactly. Yeah. You know what? They would have been.
They would have been EMF.
That's another question. Would EMF be a better band to have around today?
Yeah.
Like, if it was EMF versus Imagine Dragons on the chart, would they be
just duking it out for number one and stuff? Yeah, like Nirvana and Soundgarden, EMF and Imagine Dragons. Oh my God. They made an album too, and I don't think they had any other singles from that album either.
EMF?
Yeah.
No, they had a song called Lies.
Really?
You're telling lies. Not that great.
It's like Courtney. She, the Chumbawamba that I get knocked out and I get
right.
Up she likes short-term memory loss.
Short-term memory loss.
Yeah, she loves that song. She's like, whatever about the I get knocked out song, but
she likes
short-term memory loss rocks.
It's like I'm really into Jesus Jones' International Bright Young Thing. Like, what? Huh? They had another song?
Jesus Jones. Right here, right now.
And Real. So they had two. They were a two-hit wonder.
Yeah. So Christmas music.
Yeah.
Well, Christmas in general, I guess, right?
Yeah, let's start about... We can talk about... Well, it's a music podcast, so we can transition to music pretty quick. But we can talk about phenomena, memories of Christmas or whatever,
I mean, my early... Christmas is probably my favorite holiday, which I feel like is weird. I feel like a lot of people don't like Christmas. And I kind of get it. I mean, it's a time where it's spent with family, and if you don't have a lot of family or if you have a strained relationship with your family, it seems to me that the Christmas season is kind of maligned for you personally, which I get, I'm lucky in that I have, a family that I get along with and stuff. And my earliest memories of Christmas are going back to Michigan because we lived in Ohio from the time I was about 6 years old until I moved to Austin. And we would go up to Michigan every year, and we would spend one of the days with each like set of grandparents and stuff. And those were the kind of the best memories. And I remember my grandma got me this amazing Lego set one year. My dad's mom, and it was like the coolest. That was like the Christmas day that was like the gold standard for all other Christmas days. I feel like it's like the year I got the Legos, and I got all this other cool stuff too. And yeah, man, that was awesome. That was an awesome year. I think I was like maybe 7 or 8, I want to say. But
yeah, kind of similar to us. We would travel back to West Texas or down to the San Antonio where my other grandparents lived. And I think it was just like every other year we would go to the other grandparents for Christmas.
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
I think it's pretty normal, right? But because they were far enough away that you couldn't hit them both at the same time. Mm-hmm. It was like we had to go way out to a place called Colorado City, or Colorado City. That's how you say it in West Texas, but still in Texas. Yeah. And we had some good Christmases there, and then Bandera, my other grandparents lived in like a cabin kind of by Lake Medina, which was pretty nice, I mean, it wasn't like it was their ritzy cabin. That was just their home, but it was this nice sort of like cabin. And we had some good Christmases there. My parents were strangely bad at like doing Christmas presents though. You talk about, they were, I think what it is like in retrospect, now that I'm an adult, I think I get it. I think what happened is they would kind of leave it up to my dad to get the presents, and then he would wait till the last minute, and then it would just be like, well, let's go find some stuff, you know? And then,
all right, gotta go to the toy store, I guess.
Yeah, and we got a lot of toys and stuff, so I don't want to act like an ingrate, but they weren't great about getting me like what I wanted. Yeah. It would just be like things they found that day or whatever.
It's like you were into Transformers, and they saw like He-Man, and they were like, close enough. Like,
close enough, we'll get some He-Man stuff. And it'd be like,
we'll get Skeletor instead of Optimus Prime.
The best one, and it ended up being good in the end, but there's one year. So I believe in Santa Claus. I'm like in second grade, getting close to the end of my run with old Santa. But so I come downstairs and Santa's got all the stuff out for me, And he's got like a build-a-model kit for an SR-71. It's this huge build-a-model. And there's a model
That's
for...
a truck, right?
No, the SR-71 Blackbird, the plane, the spy plane. So it was actually pretty awesome. And there were a lot of rumors in those days of what the stealth bomber looked like, right? But nobody knew what it was because it was still like 87 or something, you know. So it was just a rumor. So there was a model of like an artist's idea of what the stealth bomber might look like. Oh, that's
crazy.
Right? And then there was like a model for a plane a model for like a red car. I'd never built a model in my life. And I didn't care about planes or cars. You know what I mean? Literally, I came downstairs and I'm looking at this stuff that my dad got, and I'm sure my dad.
Wrapped?
No, they didn't tend to wrap the Santa stuff. So
really?
You come down and you just see it's there. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, a car,
is that a West
two planes.
Texas thing? Or?
No, I think it's a German thing. There's
really?
It's that's another. Let me finish this story first, and we can talk about that. But I came down, I see all this stuff, and I'm like, oh no, there's been a mistake. And I literally was like, there's a kid who lives across the street who's really into cars, and models
planes
and stuff,
and all that stuff. Yeah.
I think Santa got the houses mixed up. So I literally said to my dad, something.
Let me go across the street.
Let me go check with them.
Figure this out.
Yeah, because I think we got his toys. I really thought there was a clerical error or something. Because there's no way Santa would get this.
Isn't keeping the
this
books
crap
right,
for me.
man.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Santa's an old man. He might have just sort of. Why would he get this for me? Because clearly I don't want this crap.
Yeah, right. This is clearly a mistake. And your dad was like,
he must have. No. I remember him getting mad at me when I said it, but it's I had no idea.
So you were in second grade, so
I was
close to the time where
we're getting close, but I still didn't know yet.
Yeah.
And it ended up being a good thing because we built those together, and it ended up being one of my cherished memories is building that stuff with my dad.
Oh, that's cool.
So it ended up being really good, but in that moment, that sort of yay, I'm getting a Christmas present. It was not so hot.
No, that stinks, man. I'm sorry.
But that SR-71 was huge. It was 3 feet long.
Are you serious?
Literally this or something. It was awesome.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I think that I remember when I figured out there was not a Santa Claus, it was very kind of I think I asked my mom one year, and it was maybe the day after Christmas, and I was just like, hey, so I don't think there's a Santa Claus. I don't think that's a thing, right? She's like, no, we just buy you presents. And I was like, that's what I thought. I think I kind of knew that all along. But it was weird. It was kind of a heady conversation. I think I was in third grade. I think I was 10 or 11 or however old you are in third grade. But
yeah, I think it was third grade for me too.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just kind of funny.
I just remember
it wasn't this traumatic experience. I just was oh, I get it now. Okay.
Yeah, it was weird because it's traumatic for an hour. For me, I think what happened is my mother decided she was going to tell me, and somehow my older sister, who already knew there was no Santa Claus, found out, and then came to tell me first.
Oh, wow.
Mommy's going to tell you that there's no Santa Claus.
Oh, my sister did stuff like that too.
And then, so then I was I remember I was hiding behind this chair, moping and kind of crying. And my mom came over there and was like, why are you sad? Oh, because, there's no Santa Claus, I guess. And then she did pretty good. Her beat on Santa was always that Santa was the spirit of giving,
Her beat.
Yeah. So she was she kind of comforted me by saying, the spirit of giving always exists. And in that sense, Santa always is there.
And that personifies Santa Claus. That's kind of an interesting way to spin it. I actually really like that.
I thought it was pretty good. It was in a way traumatic, but looking back on it, it's Santa is such a... Steph and I had a conversation about whether or not we wanted Evie and Ronnie to believe in Santa. And it was well...
Really?
Yeah, because, you're well, do you want to lie to your kid? Maybe we don't want to, make them have faith in something and then rip it away from them.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately it's it was just such a fun thing to do, that I have a cherished memories of believing in it that in the end we kind of just succumbed to it. We sort of said, well, I don't know. And then one day you realize the kid already believes in Santa Claus. And it's I'm not stomping on it now, let her enjoy it. So.
Yeah. Well, you guys already have presents under the tree right now. So how does that shake out exactly?
Well, we have family presents and stuff that. And all of that goes under there and everything.
Yeah, okay.
And I do think, I mentioned there's kind of a German tradition of opening some presents the night before.
Yeah, Yeah,
and
we
Santa
always were
brings-
allowed to open one present on Christmas Eve.
Right.
I remember.
Right. See, we always did all of the family presents on Christmas Eve,
Oh,
and then
really?
you'd come
Okay.
downstairs, and whatever Santa brought in the morning,
Okay.
like that was the last of your haul for Christmas.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm told that's a. See, we're Norwegian. We're not really German, but it's all that sort of same region.
Really?
And I'm told that that's more the Norwegian tradition, but I don't know if that's true, and I haven't really looked into that. So if anybody's listening to this in Norway, feel free to write us some nasty tweets about how that's not how you guys do it.
No listeners
there.
and no downloads from Norway yet, according to Libsyn. But hopefully, once
they hear about this, it's going to explode. All of the guys from Finland, who already hate our guts, we can just get all three Nordic.
Just lump them
just
all
say
in.
something mean about Sweden next time.
Scandinavia, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so
that's great, man.
So that's the holiday traditions.
We're never going to be able to go to Oslo when we make it huge. Well, that's Norway, I guess. Well, Norwegian, okay.
Yeah.
What's the big city in Sweden? What's
Stockholm?
Stockholm. That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Stockholm. Yeah.
No.
They're going to kick our ass in Stockholm. Merry Christmas.
There will be blood on the streets of Stockholm. Our blood. Yeah. So, I mean, when you talk about Christmas music, I guess my earliest memories, I mean, I was raised Catholic. So, obviously there's church songs and midnight mass and all that stuff that kind of crystallizes the Christmas experience early on for me. And then there's also like, the secular jingle bells and all that stuff. And I remember we were talking about like Irving Berlin and stuff like that not too long ago. And you had some pretty strong opinions, I feel like.
Well, the interesting thing about Christmas music, and I've heard a theory, and I don't know that I 100% believe it, but I think it's worth talking about.
Yeah.
So Christmas music is kind of like the sound of it was kind of codified in the 40s and 50s.
Sure.
So when we think of like, what does Christmas music sound like? There's some development to it, and we'll get into that. But, a lot of it ties back to like, the big record to me was the Bing Crosby White Christmas record, right?
Yeah.
And I mentioned that to you the other day, and you were like, that's my grandpa's music.
Yeah.
But that's the point.
I know. It is.
Because
it's true.
The music, when they made Christmas music back then, they made a lot of the big classics that we remember, like, and if you listen to that White Christmas album, which we had on 8-track. So when I was a kid, my parents, like whenever Christmas came around, would pop that 8-track in, and we would listen to Bing Crosby sing White Christmas, and there's some really good. I was listening to it today actually on the way home from work to kind of think about it. He's got a great version of Adeste Fidelis. He's got a great version of Silent Night on there.
Adeste Fidelis, I don't know.
Yeah, O Come All Ye Faithful, but it's the Latin version.
Adeste Fidelis. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And it's actually pretty great, but it's got, like, if you listen to that album, it's got all the hallmarks of like Christmas music. You got sleigh bell sounds.
Yeah.
You've got the big lush strings.
Yeah.
The crooning.
So there
even,
was
the
production
singing.
there.
There was production, but it was a very specific sound.
Yeah.
And then the theory that I heard is what happens is the Christmas music you heard as a child, you bring to adulthood because that's what reminds you of Christmas. So my parents listened to Bing Crosby when they were kids because that was current music or had been around for the last 20 years. And then when they grow up, they play that for me. And then I hear it.
Right.
And the other big Christmas album for me, this is going to shock nobody who's ever listened to this podcast, is A Christmas Gift for You by Phil Spector. Also, sometimes the Phil Spector Christmas album.
Right.
And that's music from the 60s, not my generation of music, but my parents' generation.
Right.
And there's a part of me that one probably gets played in the house more at Christmas. Evie will remember that.
Oh, really?
So Evie's
cool.
grandparents' music is going to be Christmas music for her, just like my grandparents' music was Christmas music for me. You see how it works? And the theory is that it's because it's the music you associate with it from your childhood.
Right.
And so I don't know if that's true, but I was thinking about it, like all of those musical hallmarks from that era.
Yeah.
Again, sleigh bells, lush strings, crooning, all this stuff. What's the most successful Christmas song of the last 30 years?
All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey.
Absolutely.
There's no question.
There's no question.
There's no argument.
Yeah. It's anybody who says anything else, just get out of here. You're not allowed on our podcast because that's the answer. And that's the most popular one. And what does it sound like? it's the big 60s sound.
Yeah,
it's got
exactly.
pianos that are
It's
doing
got the
almost
sleigh
like
bells, yeah.
it's got sleigh bells. It's
Yeah.
got the big strings. She's like the greatest like powerhouse voice singer.
It has
and
a
everything.
sweet Randy Jackson bass line.
Yeah.
You know what's weird? I'm sorry to kind of
No,
go off
please do.
topic here, but the American Idol judge, Randy Jackson, he's played on more number one hits than like Elvis and the Beatles combined.
Well, but that's what happens when you're a studio
He's
cat.
a studio cat, and that's fine. Like I was in Guitar Center getting some bass strings, and the guy was like, "You sure you don't want the Randy Jackson signature strings?" And I was like, "I'm good, man.
Yeah,
that's fine. Thank you, though. I do appreciate it."
Well, you were that close to getting the Randy Jackson sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he played with Journey and he played with Bruce Springsteen and he played with all kinds of...
He played with Springsteen? I didn't
Yeah,
realize
he
that.
did. Yeah, in that period after the E Street Band and stuff. And honestly, not
Tunnel of Love?
Not that great. No, I think he's on Lucky Town and
Oh,
Human
yeah.
Touch.
Okay, that
so
makes
really like
sense. Yeah.
the not great era of Springsteen. But,
Yeah.
but you know, like... And I don't mean this to insult him because, it's a different set of... ambitions, I guess. But like if you look at the Funk Brothers, you know who they are.
Oh,
right?
of course, yeah.
So the Funk Brothers played on more number one hits than like the Beatles, the Beach Boys, the Rolling Stones, all these guys combined, right?
Yeah.
But of course they did. They were the house band for Motown.
Yeah.
Like even though all of their creativity is completely in these records and they deserve credit for that, you can't really say, oh, the Funk Brothers then are, what are we saying? They're a better band than those bands combined because they had more number ones.
Yeah.
No, they were studio cats. You know, they brought their creativity and that it is an incredible accomplishment. I love that movie, Standing in the Shadows of Motown.
Oh, it's great.
One of my favorite movies.
So good, man.
Yeah, so I'm not knocking it, but I'm saying that if you're a studio cat, like that kind of comes with the territory.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If you're going to play, if one day you're playing with Diana Ross and the next day you're playing with the Temptations and the next day you're playing with the Four Tops.
Yeah.
Like the Beatles you're not competing with the Beatles at that point. You know, the
true.
Beatles can't put out 4 singles at the same time,
Right,
but Motown can.
Yeah, they can crank it out. Well, and I was not trying to make a case for Randy Jackson.
I know.
I actually,
No, what I'm hearing here is that you're saying Randy Jackson is the greatest musician who ever lived.
Clearly, no. I mean, I have a long, sordid history of loathing American Idol to its core. I always thought it was just the worst thing for music, and
I had a weird, like the first couple of seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to remember, cast your memory back to when American Idol first came out.
Oh.
Like we had been we were just coming off of like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, the boy bands.
That's true.
Avril Lavigne, all that stuff. And I remember when it first came on, I was like, well, the record companies are going to shove some terrible pop idol down our throat. We might as well get to pick who it is. And that's what I used to say, like for the first couple of seasons.
Like,
you that
win.
One, you are the least annoying.
Ruben stuttered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like Kelly Clarkson was not as bad to me as Britney Spears. You know what I mean? And maybe there was a little bit of
okay, I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
She can sing.
But the problem was you can say that for the first or second series, but once it got into like 5 or 6, people who watched that show all turned into Simon Cowell.
Yeah.
And it was very frustrating. Like Stephanie, for instance, would go, I'm not going to call it out, but people who were close to Stephanie and should have known better were hassling her because she didn't sing like Kelly Clarkson or something.
Are you serious?
Yes. And we had people who argued that she should have tried to go on American Idol and all this stuff. And it was like, get out of here with that. You know what I mean? It's one thing if you want to watch that show or whatever, but don't for a second think that whatever Simon Cowell's opinion is of good music is suddenly the rubric on which you judge music by. We've gone really hard out of our way to say, hey, we're not tastemakers and we're not trying to tell you what to, you can agree with us or disagree with us, or we'll make our points and talk about our taste, but we're not trying to turn you into mini versions of us.
Yeah.
But American Idol kind of did that for a while.
I didn't realize that was going on, honestly.
As a musician, it was really maddening because, like I said,
sounds awful.
It's fine if you're just like a wannabe pop star or karaoke or something, or if it's just a show you like and you like the music. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But don't let that kind of approach infect everything else. Merry Christmas, everybody.
So I didn't mean to get off topic there, but I thought it was funny. But
going back to go ahead.
But he probably played on All I Want for Christmas. He was probably the bassist, right? Randy Jackson.
Yeah,
Maybe
I don't know.
Not.
It could
Who
be.
knows? But, But anyway.
But you see, my point was that it has that classic sound. And the thing that's difficult, I think, for new Christmas music is finding a way to do that and still be interesting, or don't do that and still feel like a Christmas song.
And here's the thing. That brings me to my point. I don't think I ever saw Christmas music as interesting. I saw it as Christmas music. I saw it as a novelty. And honestly, I think that's okay. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think it's one of the things that you can actually appreciate on a novelty basis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even when I became a music lover and my tastes developed, I still enjoy listening to Christmas music just for the novelty of it, not because I was trying to be enlightened or something like that. I wasn't listening to Christmas music trying to hear Neutral Milk Hotel or Arcade Fire or something. I don't know. That might sound a little pie in the sky, but
no, I think that's fair because if I think of a list of what are some of my favorite Christmas songs, a lot of them aren't things that I would necessarily hold up as great artistic achievements. Some of them, yes, but
What would you say is a great artistic achievement that is also a Christmas song? I'm interested to know.
Well, it depends on what we mean. Okay. Let's start with the light stuff because I do think eventually we need to confront the actual religious Christmas
If you
music.
bring up Mannheim Steamroller song.
No, not happening. No. Okay. Ronnie Spector singing Frosty the Snowman, right? I think the production on that, or a better one is Darlene Love singing Christmas Baby, Please Come Home.
Okay.
You can argue that that's a novelty song, but listen to the wall of sound of production on it. It's almost, next to Be My Baby, maybe the best example of wall of sound production.
Really?
Yeah, that whole album is full of this. Marshmallow World she does, which is not what I would consider a great Christmas song. It's inane. Winter is a marshmallow world. What the heck? That's your metaphor. But it's fantastic coming out of her mouth. I love... Oh, you're saying one that is an actual artistic achievement. I mean, that would be one.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah.
There's on that Bing Crosby record, I was listening to it. His version of Silent Night, I think I would hold up there. Okay. There's also a version of a song called Faith of Our Fathers. And that's not really, I don't know if it's a Christmas song so much, but it's like a Catholic hymn. And it has a level of conviction that I don't always hear in Bing Crosby's voice that I think is really beautiful. And the strings on it and everything are almost like an old-fashioned, it's got one of those old-fashioned creepy choirs that you used to hear in 40s music. Yeah, doing the background. Well, that sounds bad when I say it that way, but it actually is kind of beautiful in its way. So those kinds of things, I think they really hold up. The flip side is, what's one of my favorite Christmas songs? The Chipmunks Christmas song. You know what I mean? That's great, right? I want a hula hoop. Yeah, exactly.
Christmas, don't be late.
I mean, what is it? What's not to like?
Yeah,
but you're right.
True.
It completely proves your point that it's a novelty, right?
Yeah. And not a bad one, I don't think.
No, it's fine. Novelty songs aren't by nature bad. Listening to them too much, I mean, it can be irritating.
Right. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas.
Yeah. That's fine. If you have to hear it 2 times a year, it's great.
Yeah. I would say I get that song at least a good 5 to 7 spins every year. Yeah. My sister and I have an inside joke with that song, and I try to I used to sing it into her in a really authentic way, and it would just crack her up every time I did it. And I was kind of almost like a caricature of the woman singing that song.
It's Brenda Lee, isn't it?
Is it Brenda Lee? I don't think it is Brenda Lee.
Let me look.
Check it out. Yeah, look it up.
Maybe we could play a little bit of it. You wanna?
Oh, we should. Yeah, I think we definitely should. Gayla Peavy.
Gayla Peavy.
That's what it says.
So I don't know who that is.
Maybe. Well, that's the first thing that came up on Google. So
that's probably it.
Yeah. Well, it says Kids Retro Christmas Soundtrack released 2012. So maybe it's not.
No, Gayla Peavy. Let's see. I mean, it's the one time of year you're going to listen to music that sounds like this, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course.
I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Only a hippopotamus.
You got to ask yourself, why did that singing style die off?
I don't know.
No dinky tinker toys.
Dinky tinker toys.
To play with and enjoy. I
Yeah.
It's literally like she's holding her nose close.
Yeah.
Singing.
And singing through a ping pong ball or something. Like,
It's so good, man. She could have totally just had a lead vocal on a Gorillaz song at some point, you know?
Yeah. That's fun, but it goes back to what you're saying about being a novelty, right? But
Yeah, I don't know. It's fun.
So what about, so we talked a little bit about how a lot of times there's like a traditional Christmas sound to, especially like pop Christmas songs.
Yeah.
What about songs that kind of flummox that? They may use some things, but like, what are some Christmas songs that have broke out of that mode that you can think of?
Well, I begrudgingly bring this up, but the Paul McCartney "Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time."
We talked about that a little bit.
Yeah. Eartha Kitt, Santa Baby. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up that song. Wow. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I mean, she's literally trying to get with Santa. And I mean, and that's the cleanest way I could possibly say it. Like, oh, man. I don't know. But
Christmas in Hollis.
Yeah, Run DMC Christmas in Hollis.
I mean, it's still got, a little bit of Christmas sounds in it, but it's
Mama's Cooking Turkey and Collard Greens is a rap song.
Yeah, it's a rap.
Straight up.
And what's the Christmas rap that Curtis
Boys?
Blow did?
Curtis Blow did one?
Yeah. I think it's his like the first rap song that hit the charts or something. Like it's some crazy.
Seriously?
Or like there's some it's some weird thing like that,
Huh. That's wild.
Yeah, I know. Like Curtis Blow, it wasn't the breaks, it was this Christmas rap that he did. Christmas rapping or something.
He has a song called Basketball too, which is awesome.
Really?
Yeah, he has a song all about basketball, and he's like, and then the ball goes to Hakeem and slams a two with a double mint gleam or whatever. It's so great.
I love you. Just like your Curtis Blow flow was like perfect because that was it. And
well, yeah,
it's basketball.
Curtis Blow was like he was he was taking a page out of like the Sugar Hill Gang. Like he was one of those. He was basically one of those dudes. Not really. Like he wasn't in the band, but he was like, okay, this is how you rap, and you got to do this, and these are the breaks, and blah 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 blah.
Which I love it, but you're right. It's really easy to copy. Like it's not. It's not like you're listening to Rakim or something.
Exactly. Yeah, Curtis Blow, Christmas rapping.
Yep. So Christmas rapping, and isn't there a song called Christmas Rapping by the Waitresses? Isn't that like one of the...
I don't know. Maybe. Let's check. The Waitresses Christmas Rap. Wait, say it again?
Yeah, the Waitresses Christmas Rapping, I think. I think that's it.
Yeah, like it's wrapping paper.
Yeah, like wrapping paper, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see. But that's another one that's a little unconventional sounding.
Yeah, for
sure. Or like Merry Christmas, I Don't Want to Fight Tonight by the Ramones. Do you know that one?
No, I don't know that one at all.
You don't know that one? Oh my God. All right, we're going to start there. Let's. You got to check that one out.
Okay.
So,
I didn't know the Ramones had a Christmas song. I'm a terrible
check this
person,
from Brain
Chris.
Drain.
Merry Christmas, I don't want to fight tonight with.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, I Don't Want to Fight.
It's great.
Merry Christmas, I don't want to fight tonight. Merry Christmas.
This is like produced.
Yeah.
Was this like later Ramones?
Yeah, it's on Brain Drain, which is a little bit later in the 80s.
Where is Santa and his sled? And tell me why is it always this way? Where is Rudolph? Where is Blitzen?
Where is Rudolph?
Where's
Blitzen?
God, I love Joey Ramone, man.
Yeah,
Ramones
he was
are the
amazing.
best. They were so good. But I want to hear a little bit of the Waitresses song too. Just 'cause. But yeah, I guess the point is sometimes you can do it. You can kind of break out of the Christmas. I mean, this has a little bit of that. You can hear that sounds like just classic Christmas sort of sounds here.
This is the Waitresses right here?
Yeah, you'll recognize it. There's a horn line in this that's pretty famous. Like, but it kind of breaks out of this mode pretty quick, I think.
Yeah. So it's like I don't know this band.
Yeah, I think they've got another. I Know What Boys Like. I think it's the Waitresses.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Kind of
That
nice
guitar work is really fun, man, and really bouncy and stuff. Bass line's really groovy too. It's
It is like they're getting down back there, actually.
It's funky as hell, dude.
Bah humbug, well, that's too strong 'cause it is my favorite holiday. But all this year's
It almost sounds like Rapture or something,
Yeah, yeah,
the guy
it's
with
kind of a Blondie ripoff for sure.
which was a Curtis Blow ripoff. So, you know, kind of, so it's that same kind of thing.
It's all comes full circle, man.
Yeah.
You know.
ski shopping counter, most
But I like this kind
Yeah.
of thing, you know, this sort of new wave.
Yeah, yeah.
Pass along those lines, so
That's so great, man.
But I want you to hear the horn line and see if you recognize
Okay,
it.
okay.
Because you'll hear this out sometimes. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know this. Yeah.
But it's actually a pretty cool little horn line.
It's not bad. Yeah, and I recognize that. I've certainly heard that before.
But the weird thing is, like, I do love it, and it is an unconventional song, despite the fact that it has a little bit of, like,
Yeah.
triangle hits or something on
Sure.
it. But I don't know if, like my kids will be as sentimental about hearing, like, Christmas rapping or something, you know,
Yeah.
like the way that we were about White Christmas or
Sure.
something. Irving, it almost just seems like the golden age of that music was back then.
Oh, it was, I think. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that because music was, you know, you talked about pre-rock on the episode, the Tom Waits 85
Yeah,
episode.
yeah.
I mean, you know, I think that music was appealing then because of the pre-rock styles were dominant, you know, and the Christmas music fit right in with orchestral kind of jazz and big band and crooning and all that stuff. That was the popular music when there was no rock music or when rock music was in its infancy. So
it does seem like there was a certain point where, like, rock musicians, like, the idea of doing a Christmas song was too much of a novelty. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
Like
yeah.
you were saying, there's no Nirvana Christmas album.
Right,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? And there's never
exactly.
going to be. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? The only
yeah.
times that people do, like, Christmas songs in the rock era, it's like a blatantly a joke or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
It's like
Yeah.
the Vandals' "Oi to the World"
yeah,
or something.
yeah, yeah.
Or
didn't somebody had a song called "Fuck Christmas," right? Like
I mean, probably
Bad
I-
Religion or
Well, Bad Religion did a whole album of, like, Christmas carols. But
They did, yeah,
And it was
yeah.
like, is this tongue in cheek or not? And
Yeah,
it's like,
I
well,
couldn't
kind of
figure it out,
Of course
yeah,
it is, but
yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't really sound.
Yeah.
You can take it either way. You know.
Yeah. So, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you do.
It was fine. But Greg Graffin, the main guy in Bad Religion, has somewhat of a traditional music background. He has a solo album called "Cold as the Clay" that's all like almost like country. It's really crazy.
Really?
He plays guitar on the whole thing.
Yeah, he's like a professor and stuff
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So he's a real, like, interesting.
He is a
character.
really interesting dude. Yeah. But
So
yeah.
I can imagine him getting into the Christmas music just from a, like, musicologist standpoint.
Exactly,
You know?
yeah,
And maybe
for
that's
sure.
where that was.
That's
It's
where he
partly
was
that,
going,
but
yeah.
then partly kind of a joke to do, like, hey, what if Me First and the Gimme Gimmes just did Christmas music?
Oh,
You know, like,
man, they
let's
have a
be-
Christmas album, don't they?
Of course they do. They
Yeah,
must.
They have
surely.
to.
You know?
Yeah. God, man, that's so awesome.
But what's the? But I want to cycle back to Wonderful Christmas Time, because we had an interesting topic or discussion about this song the other day.
We did.
Because that's one of the most hated Christmas songs in the world.
I hate it, man. I'm sorry.
You really do?
I
Yeah.
do. Yeah. It's just, and the reason that I hate it is because I worked at a Sprint store in like 2004. And during Christmas, like the whole Christmas season, we had a bunch of Christmas music that played on a loop. There had to have been maybe 14 to 16 songs, maybe, you know, give or take, right? And I felt like that song got played more than any other song, and it just drove me nuts, dude.
And that's what I've kind of heard, that a lot of people who work in retail are driven crazy by this song.
Yeah.
And the thing is it's like at some point you and I are going to talk about Ram or Band on the Run or
Yeah.
something, and I will finally get a chance to kind of do my defense of Paul McCartney's solo career.
Yeah.
Because I already ran him down a little bit in Turkeys, right?
Well, I don't think Paul McCartney has a questionable solo career. I like his solo career arc, to be honest, but that song, there's something about it, man.
Right.
But
Well,
you had some points about
Yeah, well, here's the points
sorry.
that here's the thing. No, I'm saying that I'm going to defend Paul McCartney for our listeners. One day you can look forward to in the new year. My gift to you, a defense of Paul McCartney's solo career. You don't want to start that battle in defending Wonderful Christmas Time. That's not where you want to start with that
No,
discussion.
right,
The thing about
exactly.
Paul McCartney's Wonderful, but well, that's what I'm going to do. So the thing I think about Wonderful Christmas Time is I don't think it's a great song, but I think within the context of Paul's solo career, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
So it's recorded during the McCartney 2 era. So Wings has kind of broken up.
Right.
And Paul McCartney's got a bunch of synthesizers at his house, and he's thinking, I'm going to just kind of make a homemade record again like I did with the first record. But I'm going to use these synthesizers, so that will be the sound of the record.
Right.
And in the process of doing that, he kind of comes up with Wonderful Christmas Time as a kind of homemade thing.
Yeah.
And if you listen to it, what's cool about that song is that it does have these 70s synths. And it's kind of just Paul McCartney dicking around with synthesizers
That's
and
true.
trying to figure
It
out
is.
how to do I think he's described the writing process of that song as he was like, hey, maybe I'll do a Christmas song, but I don't want to do like a knockoff of
Yeah,
White Christmas.
right.
I want to let's try to do something that sounds more interesting and
Right.
strange and see if I can make a Christmas song that still sounds synthetic at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's what that record is.
Yeah.
And I think if the
That's what Paul McCartney 2 is, or that's what that song
well,
is?
Paul McCartney 2 is kind of that too, but
Okay.
but specifically Wonderful Christmas Time is like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's its strength, is that when you hear those synthesizers come in, if you aren't already have the Pavlov's dog of I hate this song and it makes you clinch up or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I think it's an interesting sound to hear at Christmas, especially in like 2018. Like
Yeah.
you don't hear synths that sound like that.
Right,
And
right.
that kind of makes it special. Now, flip side of that. Apparently, Paul McCartney makes like $400,000 every year off of this one song.
Oh, that's not surprising. I
He's-
thought
according
it would be
to
more.
Wikipedia,
Yeah.
he has made $15 million off of Wonderful Christmas Time over the years. That is disgusting. Even as someone who likes that song,
Yeah.
the song is too like silly.
Like
and
he better
inane.
donate all that to
He
like
better. Paul McCartney, if you're listening, and I know you are.
Yeah.
I know you are. Merry Christmas, by the way.
give it all to UNICEF, Paul.
Give that money to UNICEF. You don't need that money. Give some poor person a wonderful Christmas time this
exactly.
year. Please do something.
Oh my
But
God.
give back for the pain you've caused.
So the thing that I find most strikingly bad about that song, and I've had a minute to think about it, is it just sounds sterile. It sounds like a bad commercial for something. Like it's like if somebody, went into the studio and was like, what do people want to hear? What's going to be Christmassy and cool? And what's going to really reel people in? Like a bunch of bland, icy synthesizers, which
That is true.
I do think there are icy synths on that song.
I agree.
And just some really like by the numbers lyrics about hot cocoa and reindeer and fucking stockings hanging on the fire by the fireplace. Like, I mean, that's Christmas music and that's a novelty and I get it. It's just, I don't know,
No, I
man.
think that's the thing. Like if he had written better lyrics to it,
Yeah.
I think we'd have a different story. But
Right.
even just simply having a wonderful Christmas time, I think simply having it just.
Simply having a wonderful Christmas time.
I don't mind that melody, but I think simply having a wonderful Christmas time just sounds inane.
Does.
And that's the
Does.
problem. Is it's even we were talking
It's a
about
Hallmark greeting card of a song.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, it may be too lazy for Hallmark.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's the problem with it. If he had done a better job with the lyrics, I think we would have a different story on it.
Yeah, maybe.
What do you think of "Do They Know It's Christmas," the Band-Aid song?
It's
Some
good.
people
I
have
like
very
that song.
strong opinions about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. That's the whole like "We Are the World" kind of vibe,
Right,
Yeah.
but it's like let them know it's Christmas
Yeah,
time. Because
yeah.
some people despise it.
really.
Yeah, and
I can't say I despise it. I haven't heard it all that much. I've heard
Yeah.
it maybe only a handful of times.
Okay.
Not enough maybe to formulate a strong opinion on, but I think it's cool.
Yeah.
From what I know about it, when I remember, I guess.
I could talk about it for a while, but I don't. This doesn't sound like we need to bother with that.
I mean, you can talk if you want to. If you had some stuff to say about it, we can talk
Well,
about
I kind of like it too, but I feel
Bounce it
like
off
it's a
of me, brother.
misunderstood song
Yeah.
because what it was one of the very first because it predates Live Aid, it predates We Are the World.
does it really?
Yeah, it
I
was,
didn't know
I
that.
think the very first everybody in a room singing
Yeah,
into a
like
microphone
the
kind of
whole
thing.
kind of like yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was a huge thing in the
Now
80s. but I
Stevie
think-
Wonder,
Yeah,
add
yeah.
your take.
Yeah. All right. We got Stevie Wonder now. Guy from Kajagoogoo. Wait, why is he in the room with Stevie Wonder? Okay. sure.
Man.
Kajagoogoo.
I gotta go get a call for Robbie Williams' 16th birthday after this. That kind of leads into a story that we can get into later, but you continue, please.
Yeah. So it was kind of the first of those. But what it really is it's kind of punk in a way, because what they were doing was trying, because Midge and Bob Geldof, like it became Live Aid. So like they were behind it. So Ultravox, Boomtown Rats, you got kind of a punk rock root to this thing.
Right.
And it's basically saying, hey, you're lucky. You live in a Western society.
You're privileged.
You're
to that kind of
privileged. You're
thing.
doing good. You've got enough money to buy toys and Nintendos or Ataris or whatever.
Yeah.
You guys have some stuff. Feel a little guilty this Christmas and send some money to those kids in Ethiopia who are starving.
Yeah, right.
And that's
right.
what it's a song about, trying to make you feel guilty.
Yeah.
Basically at Christmas, right?
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with that, actually.
Right.
Like from a punk rock side, I'm like, yeah, do it. Make them all feel guilty. I don't care. Like it's not a problem, to me. But I think there are a lot of people who hear that there's a line that Bono sings in it. It had to be Bono, of course.
No, here we go.
But he says, tonight, thank God it's them instead of you. And a lot of people take that as an extremely immoral attack or something. But I don't see it that way. I just see it as a guilt trip. He's just basically saying, tonight, just thank your lucky stars that you live in America
that
or
you're
England.
Not poor and starving.
Yeah, because it could be you. That's what he's saying. But a lot of people look at it as if it's literal, like God plays favorites and you're one of his favorites or something. And I don't think that's at all what they were getting at.
It was like sarcasm.
Yeah,
of.
exactly.
Okay.
But like they sort of miss the sarcasm.
They miss
and
the
they
point.
think, he's literally...
was that the vibe of the whole song?
Kind of. Well, I mean, it's like,
Well, the whole, do they know it's Christmas?
Let them feed the world. Let them know it's Christmas. It's essentially saying it's your responsibility. If you really care about, peace on earth, goodwill toward men, then you will be willing to help feed some kids at Christmas for Christ's sake. For Christ's sake. And it's a big guilt trip, right?
Yeah.
But it raised a lot of money. I don't know if the money went to the right place, but I mean, I think their hearts were in the right place. You know what I mean?
Right.
It did lead to, stuff like that did lead to, We Care a Lot, which is hilarious.
Oh,
That Faith No More
Faith
song.
No More song, yeah.
Yeah, where they're sort of making fun of,
Yeah.
They show off how much you care.
You care, but you're at the end of the day, you're still going to, come home and drink 5 Heinekens and eat a steak and whatever. You care a lot, sure you do. I don't know. It's all relative, I suppose. No, but what I was going to say, the Robbie Williams thing. So you remember the show MTV Cribs, right?
Right, of course. Yeah.
So he was on an episode of MTV Cribs, Robbie Williams, and of course he has this lavish, over-the-top, ridiculous fucking mansion wherever, and he has this garage and he has 25 cars, and one of the cars that he has in his garage was given to him on his 16th birthday by members of Kajagoogoo.
What?
I don't even know the whole story, but he says, "Dear Robbie, here's a new car. Sincerely, Kajagoogoo," or something. That's kind of like what he says, but he's like, "My mates in Kajagoogoo, they left me a note when they gave me this car on my 16th birthday."
Yeah.
God, my God.
I never really got the Robbie Williams
I didn't
thing.
get it either.
Yeah, that was. I think you had to be British to get that, because I was a huge Anglophile during that time, listening to almost entirely British music at that point. And Robbie Williams came on the scene, and all of my British friends were like, "Yeah, he's he's so good."
All of your British, you have British friends.
I have British friends. I do have some other friends, Marty.
Well, I'm not discounting that, but friends that are British, really?
Yeah.
How do you?
Why is that so strange?
Because we live in America, not Britain.
There's a thing called the internet.
I understand that, Chris. Did you meet him on
I used to hang out on
stuff?
Blur's message boards and stuff back then, right? So it would be they would talk about Blur and Suede and The Verve and Radiohead and Oasis and then Robbie Williams. And it was always there were two things that happened around Robbie Williams and a few years later, the Libertines. And I felt these are two things where it's I think you kind of got to be British to understand what this is all about. Libertines a little bit easier to get into, but still kind of this doesn't translate across.
I don't get the Libertines either.
Yeah,
the whole,
it's sort of
what's that guy's name? Pete something?
Pete Doherty or something?
Pete Doherty.
Doherty.
Yeah.
I think it's what it is. Yeah,
and he's always high and stuff.
Yeah, it's it was something about the lifestyle that was more important than the music.
Have you seen that Amy Winehouse documentary?
I mean, Amy Winehouse is the same story in a way, although she's very
from
talented.
that same scene.
Yeah, exactly.
They talk about it in that. Pete Doherty actually has dialogue in that documentary, and the whole thing about how you're born to lose and you're never going to make it, and I don't know. It's weird because that was kind of like the vibe, the whole like druggy rock music thing.
Right.
But
I mean, I love punk rock, and I love a lot of guys who are reckless and sort of born to lose and all that stuff.
Yeah, like Sid Vicious, Sex Pistols, sure, whatever, but
I mean, it just seemed weird in 2001 or something to be
and then
having
it was getting all this coverage by Rolling Stone and stuff,
but then you listen to the thing is that the Clash participated in riots and set things on fire.
Exactly.
And stuff. But then you go listen to the albums and they're amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
But it would be like the Libertines, and it would be like you listen to the albums and it's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It would
it's
be
nothing
like, special. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, I've heard this before. It'd be that kind of thing, and it was like, well, okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm not. Merry Christmas, everybody. But
this is the last thing I'll say about it. But he dated someone who was kind of famous. What is there? There's an actress, first name Kate. I can't think of her last name.
Hudson?
Not Kate Hudson, but another
Holmes?
Kate.
Katie Holmes?
No, not Katie Holmes. She's also British, I want to say.
Beckinsale?
Maybe.
Surely not.
But basically,
they were Kate Beckinsale. Let's start that rumor right here.
Well, they were dating, and he got a tattoo of a K on his arm. And apparently 2 days later, she was like, no, dude, we're not going to stay together. He's too crazy for me. Right after he got a K. And he's like, this is for my girl, I got the K tattoo, and it was really something, And she's like, no, fuck you, man. You're a weirdo. You're too wild for me. I don't need any of this. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. So leading back to Christmas music.
Yeah.
So we were talking about, do they know it's Christmas? So,
yeah. So I guess the only thing that I would say is that I think it works it works within the context of the times in which it was made, more importantly than anything else. I don't know if you really need to hear it in 2018, but I don't think there's anything offensive about it. That's all I really wanted to say.
That's fair.
I was curious because I thought you might have the opposite view because I know a lot of folks who do. So.
I didn't even know that was the thing.
A controversy.
I didn't. I didn't know anything about the controversy, I suppose. But.
If someone else wants to hit us back about it, we can devote another 15 minutes to this sometime.
It's true. So, are you familiar with the very special Christmas? Those series of compilations that had the Keith Haring cover art. Those were kind of cool.
They were kind of cool, actually.
And Christmas in Hollis was on the first one of those.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I know U2's cover of Christmas Baby Please Come Home, which is not as good as the Darlene Love version, but like Kanak used to play that a lot.
Right.
I think is one of the Bruce Springsteen songs on that too?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which Bruce Springsteen song, but I'm sure it's...
I like the Jackson 5 version of Santa Claus is Coming to Town, which I think is what Bruce's version is based off of.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, man, it's good stuff. Those were always... I just remember those being like very iconic and seeing those in the store and like, oh, very special Christmas, awesome, that kind of thing.
Very striking covers. And I think they went to like... special needs.
Yeah, they were essentially charity driven for sure. Yeah. Well, and Keith Haring obviously a very big influence in the gay community. I mean, obviously there probably had something to do with like AIDS and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Fantastic.
But I just thought I'd bring that up, a little snippet, a little side note. Also, there is a rap album that came out to much fanfare called Christmas in Death Row.
What? Was this a Death Row record?
Christmas on Death Row.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I don't know this record.
I remember when that came out. It was Death Row Records. They made a Christmas album with all of their acts. The Dog Pound has a song on it. The first song is called Santa Goes Right to the Ghetto.
Is it? Song. I mean, obviously they're having fun with it.
Well,
but
of course,
is it like?
Yeah.
Is it all tongue in cheek? I guess, or is
for
it
the
just
most part?
Like,
there's some the Danny Boy. They're like Death Row, like the vocalist that was on Death Row. He has a song called just Christmas Song, which I think is like. Kind of not a joke, and then Michelle A does Silver Bells and stuff. And Suge Knight had this weird knack to just like throw a bunch of shit against the wall, and he had a really kind of intuition to know like, hey, people will buy this,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's such a good. We were talking about high concept movies earlier. You and I were, It's almost like a high concept Christmas album. You know what I mean?
It
Like,
is kinda
there's
high
your
concept,
elevator
yeah.
pitch. Okay, so it's a Christmas album, but here's the hook. Here's the hook. Are you ready for the hook? Here's the hook. It's Death Row Records.
Gangster rap.
Gangster rap
seriously.
Christmas.
Yeah.
We pitched this afternoon. That's a great idea.
I'm surprised. I think this got released for Record Store Day, Black Friday, like last year.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Oh, that's great.
If it didn't, I would be surprised. And if it hasn't been, then it will be sometime soon.
Yeah, that's too cool. I was going to ask you that if you knew, and maybe this is an example. Is this a pretty notorious Christmas record? Or, are there any great like hip hop Christmas records? Is this an example of one?
No, it's not.
No.
Yeah, it's not good. And it's not, at the time it came out, maybe it was somewhat notorious, but after that it kind of fizzled, and it wasn't anything really meaningful. It wasn't anything impactful. It was just, a
product for that
cash
year.
grab. Exactly. Like, I don't know, but
I kind of want to. The only other real point that I wanted to make about Christmas, or topic that I wanted to bring up about Christmas music, was the difference between secular music and like religious music at Christmas, and what you think about like the religious, because obviously Christmas music goes way back. I think Martin Luther wrote "Away in a Manger." It goes,
Really?
like, yeah. So like literally, we're singing songs from the 1400s sometimes, or whatever. From 500 years ago. Tunes that are Christmas songs. Good King Wenceslas and things like that.
Good King Wenceslas.
Yeah, or however you say it. Good King Wenceslas.
Good King Wenceslas.
When I was first learning to play the guitar, I haven't told this story in ever.
Was it Hugh Grant sang that song in Love Actually?
Does he?
Yeah, have you seen that movie?
No.
It's a great movie.
I told you I don't see any movies, and I hate like 70% of the movies I see. So,
Chris,
do you think I would like Love Actually?
You did the same thing when I asked if you ever saw the movie Blow, and you were like, you scoffed at me.
No,
like, why
I'm
the
not
fuck would I
scoffing
see
at
that,
you.
Marty?
No, that's
because
not-
it's a great movie.
No.
That's why.
No, I think you misunderstand my attitude. It's not so much why would I see that. It's like, there are so many movies that are like all-time. I've never seen Godfather 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I've got to sit down and watch a movie, like probably Love Actually is not going to be at the top of the list. So it's more of a reaction of like, that movie is, you don't understand how far down the list that movie would have to be for me to sit down and watch it.
It's not a bad movie. I'm
sure it is.
It's in some parts dumb and some parts cheesy, but I don't know. It's all right. And it's basically like these series of characters that all are kind of related but kind of aren't. And, there's probably like 3 or 4 different stories, and they have to do.
So it's
kind
Pulp
of like,
Fiction, but Christmas.
Yes, Chris. Yes, it's clearly.
Well, you said there's a lot of stories, but they're kind of related and
that
kind of
doesn't
not.
mean that it
but it sounds like Pulp Fiction.
Just because a movie follows that formula does not mean it's anything similar to Pulp Fiction.
No, what I'm hearing is it's exactly like Pulp Fiction.
Oh my God! All right, maybe we just.
This is why we don't have a movie.
We
podcast.
can't. Yeah, we were actually getting dinner earlier, and we were talking about movies, and one movie in particular that kind of made Chris mad, and he was like, "This is why we can't have a movie podcast, Marty, like because it would just be me bitching for 3 hours."
It's weird with movies because, like, I guess you don't have to choose one, but it's like I devote so much time to listening to music and stuff that like movies don't interest me that much. And even when I was a kid, I wasn't that into movies, but like now I kind of hate watching them. And
really?
Yeah, I kind of do.
Because you just have the kids and stuff? Or?
No, I've been that way for a long time. Like, and television is kind of the same thing where it's just like, it annoys me that I have to sit in a dark room for 2 hours. You know what I mean? That's not true on every movie. I do like a lot of movies, but it's like, it just, I think other people are more into hearing stories that way. It's just, I don't know. Are
you more of a reader?
Yeah, a bit. I got the English degree. But
that's fair.
It's music. I'm more interested in music, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
like again, I don't think people have to choose, but like if you're getting me Christmas presents this year, folks, don't get me a Blu-ray. Give me an album. That's
Well, who the fuck's watching Blu-rays anymore, man? Like you can stream everything now.
Well, so that's another reason not to get me a Blu-ray. I know you're thinking about getting me a Bluray.
Don't get Chris a Netflix subscription. Well, he already has one.
It's the gift giving guide, everybody. the album of the year gift giving guide. Okay, here it is. Don't give a Blu-ray. Come on, man. Ain't nobody want that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Thank you. That was all our gift
I forget
giving.
what point I was trying to make with Love Actually. Oh, well, Hugh Grant, he sings basically he plays the Prime Minister of England essentially, and he's chasing this girl. They kind of fall in love in this haphazardly kind of way, and basically he's basically going to every house in her neighborhood, but he doesn't know which house she lives in, and he rings the doorbell to this one house, and these two little girls answer, and they're like, "Oh, you're a caroler, right?" And he's like, "Yeah," and they were like, "Well, you got to sing us a Christmas carol now," and he sings "Good King Wenceslas."
When the first gig I ever played, if you can even call it a gig, was at a church for the old ladies group when I was about 15 years old.
I'm guessing there was a Lubies or Furs meeting.
Yeah, this was
followed this concert.
Yeah, so it was me and a kid named Patrick Walsh, who's on my Facebook, so you might hear this one day. And he had a saxophone, and he had an electric guitar, and I had an acoustic guitar, right? And so we learned to play some songs, including "Good King Wenceslas." And it was like we learned 4 songs, guitar and sax. Like we're Wham or something. I don't know what the deal was.
Wake me up before you go.
But Last Christmas, there's another Christmas song. But so I went in and I'd played with acoustic guitar. If you've ever played acoustic guitar, you'll know that the strings are tighter than like an electric guitar.
Absolutely.
But I didn't know that yet, right?
Oh, really?
So he was like, "Well, you can play my electric guitar when we get to the church, right?" So of course I played everything with like the strength that you need to play with on an acoustic guitar.
So you were like,
it was out of tune and like awful, and I was just like, and it wasn't a good guitar anyway, but it was just like, so the most tuneless version of "Good King Wenceslas," and I think "Jingle Bells" and a couple of others, but it was just like, and they enjoyed it, but I left so embarrassed because I just felt like it was such a terrible, and that was a pretty auspicious start to my music career. It never really got much better than that.
I don't know. I've heard your music, Chris. I think that you improved, I would say.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah, of course, man. So yeah, I mean, there are still some Christian holiday songs. I'm not particularly Christian anymore, or Catholic. I was raised that way, but I'm kind of strayed away, so to speak. But I'm respectful of people's faith and all that stuff. And there's still some that being said, there's still some Christmas music like that I do enjoy, that I think is good, like Silent Night, I think is a cool song, you know.
Well, that's what I would say, is that I think this is one category where the religious music kind of knocks out the secular music, which is very rare. Because
it is rare,
it's the other way around. But
because it is like meaningful, and it has like imagery and metaphor and that kind of thing,
right? And
know?
there's a level of conviction into it, you know? And you don't always want to be listening to like you know, "God rest ye merry gentlemen." You know, you don't always want to have like these very, very heavy and you know, theological songs, but there's a certain strength and power to those songs that I think is kind of compelling. And it is unusual to hear the religious music, I don't know, like, I don't know. It's just unusual that to me is kind of clearly the superior strain of Christmas music.
Well, yeah.
That's my point of view.
No, I'm with you. And a lot of it's not very preachy either. It's just kind of beautiful.
Well, Silent
songs.
Night, you mentioned, is almost a lullaby.
Yeah,
right?
for
But I was listening to the Bing Crosby version earlier, and I was really struck by how it's soft and kind, and if peace on earth, goodwill toward men means anything, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's sort of embodied in that song.
Exactly.
That's singing about the peacefulness of Mary and the baby Jesus in the manger, and without any kind of like other agenda to it, other than just to say, you know, this is a thing, you know, and this is a picture of God's relationship with man, you know, whether you believe it or not. You know, like the song is depicting an idea about what God is and what peace is. And it feels like it's in the song itself. Like the song itself communicates that idea.
For sure. Yeah, and I agree.
I don't know if it gets better than that, you know.
Well, that's fair. Yeah.
So
I mean, sure says a lot more than "Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer." I couldn't not bring that song up. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's. I mean, again, the novelty Christmas song. It's great. It's a great example of a novelty Christmas song. Nothing wrong with that.
I just think of like Ernest P. Worrell when I think of that song, like the "You Know What I Mean, Vern," like the guy that was in all the Ernest movies.
Yeah, Ernest Saves Christmas.
Yeah,
which was a pretty good Christmas movie.
Great. I saw it in the theater, dude. So good. I think the first like 3 Ernest movies I saw in the theater, I want to say.
I never saw any of them in the theater. I used to watch his TV show though.
Yeah.
But we saw Ernest Save. I didn't see Ernest Saves Christmas until I was like 20 years old.
Really?
Yeah, like Steph and I
Oh
were
my
like Steph and I were already dating. She was like, "You haven't seen this?" And I'm
Yeah,
like,
come
I
on,
told you I've
dude."
never seen anything. You know, like I don't see movies. So then it was like,
and
you
it's
know.
funny because I didn't think that guy really until when he started making those movies. I didn't know that he was this kind of like star actor until then because he was in there was Trouth Dairy. That guy was like a notorious ad man. He'd do commercials for anyone that asked him to. Jim Varney, I believe, was his name.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Jim. By the way, passed away some years ago, but legacy lives on. But,
Slinky Dog was Jim Varney, right?
Yeah.
From Toy Story.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was interesting at the time. I think that he was sort of seen as a kind of like a weird 80s phenomenon, like Max Headroom and
I'd
Pee Wee
see him
Herman
in these
and stuff.
Trouth Dairy commercials, and he'd be like, "This is the best darn Trouth Dairy milk ever." Know what I mean, Vern? And I just thought he was some redneck from Southern Indiana or something.
Right.
Like,
Well, I thought the same thing
you know,
when I
and-
saw him on commercials. It
Yeah,
was just like,
and that was the point. That was the point, you know.
Right.
Like, but yeah, and then Ernest, he's got movies. What is that? Oh my God! Like, yeah.
But I think what I noticed watching those, and of course it's still, and now it's been like 20 years since I've seen it. But I was surprised at how charming they still were.
Sure.
Like I don't know if they're great movies, but they
were endearing.
They had
earnest.
more charm. You know, maybe that's the whole trick.
Or
Maybe
they were
earnest. Oh my God, Jim, you are a genius.
I nosedived into that one, ladies and gentlemen. Wow.
Oh man,
good stuff, man.
Any other great Christmas movies? Just, I mean, we can get onto that topic. Christmas movies.
you have
I
your
think like
Christmas-
the Rankin Bass stuff, like all the old
what
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer
Oh, sure,
and
yeah.
all that stuff. Like
what did you call that? The what?
Rankin Bass. That's the production company that made those.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was not aware.
Yeah, they made Frosty and so they had
Frosty the
like animated.
Snowman.
Plus
Okay.
all that stop motion stuff was made by them.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
They wrote those songs too? Or are you talking about movies?
I'm talking about the movies.
Oh,
No, not the songs. Yeah, no, that's
I mean,
Johnny, what's his name or whatever, wrote Rudolph the
Rudolph the
Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Red-Nosed Reindeer.
You know the history of that?
Johnny Thunders. No, I
Yeah,
don't.
Johnny Thunders. Yeah, it was Johnny Thunders.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. No, go ahead anyway. Sorry.
That's all.
Actually, Johnny Thunders, I don't think he wasn't a screamy guy like that, was he?
No,
The New York
well,
Dolls were kind of, I don't know. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't remember. I'm forgetting now his last name, which is I'm just blanking on it. But it's
What's
like
the
Johnny
story?
Marks or something.
What's
But-
the story?
Well, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was like a Montgomery Ward's ad campaign.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like this guy wrote
like-
the whole poem or whatever,
Yeah.
and it was just like, hey, Montgomery Ward's catalog needs to compete with Sears this year in 1935, or
Right,
whatever it was.
right.
And what's our hook? And some guy is put in charge of it, and he basically came up with the story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and did the artwork and all that stuff just to get those guys, just to basically punch in, write Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, punch out. So here's this thing, this huge piece of Christmas lore.
Yeah.
And it was just made by an ad campaign guy who just got paid his wage to come up with it. And it's one of those remarkable things. But then
I wonder if Montgomery Ward actually owned the rights to it, and because what if he just wrote that song and he got paid for his
I think he wrote
salary?
the poem. No, that's what happened. He wrote the poem, but I think Johnny Marks or whoever his name is, he wrote the music.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
okay.
I don't know if the original guy got a cut. He should have gotten a cut.
should have
from
gotten
that,
a
but
cut,
I don't know.
yeah.
If that happened.
Yeah. Hopefully he didn't die like penniless and alone.
Yeah,
like
that would be
screaming to
Merry
people,
Christmas, everybody.
I wrote Rudolph the Red-Nosed
Rudolph
Reindeer.
is mine.
Yeah, and now
He's got like a glowing red tombstone or whatever.
Oh God!
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everyone, and happy holidays. No,
Yeah.
but that's pretty crazy, man. I didn't know. I mean, as far as Christmas movies, though, I mean, you have your usual suspects. You have your Christmas Story. You have your Christmas Vacation. Cousin Eddie. You got to see him at least once a year, right?
I've only seen it once.
Really?
I didn't like it. Yeah.
Really?
Like the whole thing, like it just seemed like such a yuppie thing. And I mean, I like John Hughes.
Chris, it's a Christmas movie, man. Like, come on.
Like
it's
you're learning, like, I just don't like movies.
sometimes you just gotta like throw all that away and just live in the moment, man. I don't know. Like, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't.
Like you seem to be like amazed or something that I don't like
I
something or
know,
have
I
some
know.
weird interpretation.
And maybe I'm just not used to like like somebody who's just like, yeah, movies, kind of whatever,
Yeah.
whatever it is. You did say you wanted to watch CB4 though.
Yeah, I'm down for watching some movies, like especially music related movies. Like,
Yeah.
I'm totally down for that.
I watched like the first hour of that movie the other night, and it's wow.
I think it's going to be, and I like a lot of stupid movies.
And,
like, I
yeah.
think the thing for me is like, I either want to watch really good movies or really trash movies.
Okay.
But I don't want to watch some movie in between.
Yeah.
It's like, I either give me something really great
Yeah.
that I can enjoy or really trashy that I can
Yeah.
laugh at.
Right.
But don't give me something where it's like, yeah, that's okay. Because then that's a waste of like 2
That's
hours
fair.
for
That's
me.
fair.
I
I
think
get that.
that's how it ends up for me.
So what do you think? I mean, what is your overarching opinion on Christmas music? I guess like what do you?
I
mean,
think-
that's probably a little vague and a little general.
No, I
but-
think that's a good way to kind of wrap this up. I think
Sure.
Christmas wrapped this up. Hey.
Oh,
I think Christmas music
Hip-hop
is fine.
hooray.
I think I'm lucky in the sense that I've never had like a retail job where I had to
Yeah.
listen to Christmas music
Yeah.
over and over again. So I do have sympathy for people who, are driven crazy by hearing Wham's Last Christmas over and over again. Like I understand why that would drive you crazy. I think
Yeah.
it's justified. But I'm lucky and I've never had to do that. So for me, for a month and a half or less a year, I think it's fun. It helps get me in the spirit, and I love it. So I would say I come out pro Christmas music, but I don't really go out of my way to seek it out too much. It's just sort of, I'll listen to the Phil Spector record a couple of times, maybe the Bing Crosby record once, maybe a smattering of other Christmas songs,
Right.
and then that's it. So for me, it scratches the itch, and I don't need to hear it again for
Sure.
another, 11 months.
right on.
What about you, man?
I kind of think that what I said before kind of encapsulates my feelings on Christmas music. It's a novelty, but it's a novelty that I enjoy, during the season, right? There are things that I love about rocking around the Christmas tree now that I'm not going to love in March.
Right.
And it's cool. It's fine. And I think a lot of it has to do also with family and the season and things like that. Like the story I told about me and my sister and I want a hippopotamus for Christmas and things like that. So I think Christmas music is always something that should be part of my life. And, depending on how what you believe and, how you live your life too, I suppose. So yeah, I think it's important for the novelty factor. And I think it's something that you probably have memories of just based on spending Christmas with your family and, doing whatever you do. So.
And I think that's perfectly valid. I think I think one thing we both kind of hit on or agreed on is that music like Christmas music kind of falls into its own category.
Yeah.
You're not looking, like you said earlier, for like a Neutral Milk Hotel Christmas.
Yeah.
Like you're not listening
Right.
to that music, to Christmas music, the same way you'd listen to a Neutral Milk Hotel
Right.
album.
Right.
And that's fine.
It's okay.
That's valid,
Yeah.
And in that sense, I think we both have come down pro Christmas music.
I think
That's
that
good.
if you wanted to call us snobs, this episode would be in defense of us not being snobs, because snobby people would be like, "Fuck Christmas music!
Yeah.
I can only listen to blah blah blah," and
Yeah.
So we're not snobs. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We're not snobs.
Oh my goodness.
What we got for Christmas this year was self-respect.
That's right. Knowing that we're better than you for taking the moral high road. No, just kidding. I don't know.
Well, folks,
well, cool.
definitely
Yeah.
Merry Christmas,
Yeah,
Happy
guys.
holidays, Happy Hanukkah.
Happy
however
Hanukkah,
You celebrate
yeah.
the holiday season.
Went to a Hanukkah party this past Friday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was great. Well, a lot of booze at that Hanukkah party.
Oh, wow.
We brought a couple of bottles of Manischewitz, and they had mulled wine, and Courtney got after it with the mulled wine. She had a good time. Let's
She
just
had a
say
happy
that.
Hanukkah.
She did, yeah. It was a lot of fun, though, actually. Some Jewish friends of ours threw the party, and it was a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah.
So
So whatever holiday you celebrate, or
Yeah.
even if you're just using the opportunity to maybe get a little time off work, I hope for you,
Yeah.
and some family time, we wish you the best.
Absolutely.
And as we said earlier, we're going to be taking a little break for a few
yeah, we're
weeks
gonna
after
break
this.
for a little while. Expect maybe like mid to late January for the
Yeah,
next
something
episode.
like that. I would expect January, maybe late. Yeah, mid-late January. I don't think it's going to go any later than the first week of February or something.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we're going to use that time to just get to spread the word out about
Yeah,
the show,
yeah.
and then excited and talk more about music in the spring.
Yeah,
it's going to
be great. Yeah. Be on the lookout, guys. And I think the episodes, we're considering this the bookend to season 1, right? And then we're going to do the next episode moving forward will be album of the year season 2, I guess, so to speak. So be on the lookout for season 2 in mid to late January, guys, and we will see you then. Thanks a lot.
Merry Christmas.